Okay, a pleasant greeting to one and all gathered here, to those who are watching the video. So the topic is Romanticism. Today we are going to cover the topic Romanticism from the subject called History of English Literature, Paper 1. So first we'll see what is Romanticism. As you see on the screen, it has been from 1798 to 1837. Next slide. So what is Romanticism? When you take this word called romance, obviously you people will go to the era of film and movies. So it is not the case when it comes to reading history of English literature or just the word romanticism in English literature subject. So the word romanticism has its specific meaning. So romanticisms come from the era after the classicism. We have to understand what is classicism first. Classicism is based on the regional language, the olden language, and now when it comes to romanticism, after the World War I and II, what happened during the World War I and II, how people have suffered from the emotion trauma, and the people who have lost their kids and children, and how authors have took that thing into a specific level. So that is what romanticism means. When I want to simplify what is romanticism, is basically it is more than just an artistic movement. When it comes to artistic movement, people find romanticism as something which gives them peace. So when you talk about a film, drama, this movie industry, everything, it has its own entertainment. But when it comes to romanticism, authors mostly concentrate on the area of nature. Yes, nature is romanticism and romanticism is nature. So we have to understand what is nature here. Nature is not just something which you go out, where you go out and see and you admire how beautiful the greenery is. But no, it is not just admiring the nature. When a person is in love with nature, he or she has to fall in love with the nature in a form of divinity. It means nature as a healer, nature which brings you peace, nature which brings you inner wisdom. That is what romanticism we are going to see today. So introduction to romanticism, first point whether I have mentioned, it is just an artistic movement. It is not just an artistic movement, it is more than an artistic movement where authors have produced their regional language to the audience. There are authors who rejected the idea of classical language into the form of text. They have appreciated the simple language, and that is how romanticism came alive. It means the authors who are trying to write in a bombastic language, the generation of the classicism, and after the World War and World War II, how author has came and how they have produced the text in a more beautiful and a more simplest language, so that all the people can understand what is romanticism and how we can fall in love with the nature and how nature can teach us many things, not just one thing or two things. There are a lot of divinity we are going to see today. So next, it was a philosophical and cultural shift. So the idea of philosophy has changed in the era of romanticism, and obviously there are cultural shifts. The people who are enriching the idea of richness, enriching the idea of wealth, these people have shifted their minds toward the simplicity. It means the people who are liking the idea of being in a wealthy situation, they embrace the idea of romanticism. It means they have embraced the idea of simplicity, the village life, the rural life, and how they have find peace within themselves. The third point, romanticism emphasized the power of emotion and individualism, celebrated nature's beauty, and rejected the constraints of industrialization and rationalism. So now the people stopped running behind the logic for everything. People were so much fed up with the World War and World War II. They don't want no more logics in the area they're living. They really want some amount of peace that they can find in nature. That is how romanticism came, and that is how all the authors, especially William Wordsworth and Robert Frost, we have many authors who admire the idea of romanticism, and they have started celebrating the beauty within. The historical context. To truly understand romanticism, consider the historical backdrop. So obviously to understand the romanticism thing, we have to go to the background. It emerged as a reaction of enlightenment emphasis on reason and science. So they are the situation, this is the era where people run behind the reason and science, behind the logic, behind the idea of why we exist, why this happened, and there are a lot of people who run back to the money and like get things done to them. But there are these people who have affected by World War I and World War II, and that is how they have stopped questioning each and everything, because they really want the inner peace, and they have stopped questioning everything, and they started enjoying the romanticism thing, that is they started enjoying the beauty of nature. Additionally, the political turmoil of the era, including events like French Revolution, and it played a significant role. So obviously French Revolution, we don't want the detailed history of French Revolution. Obviously, as a literature student, you know what is French Revolution and how people have affected from French Revolution war, and how this has also changed the perspective of people when it comes to admiring the nature. Next slide. Okay, so now we have this diagram. What is romanticism? In a simply imagination, subjective experience, individual innovation. So romanticism give you the idea to embrace the individualism. What do you mean by individualism? First we have to understand this. Individualism means you are accepting all the others' opinions, ideas as it is. You're not judging, you're not asking for logics, you're not asking for many questions to prove, you are finding a peace within. That is what individualism means, and that is how it is giving you the idea to accept everything. Everyday language, clarity, individual style. So all the romantic writers will follow the normal language that everyone can understand. Humanity, childhood, primitive, social, corruptive influence. So obviously it gives the freedom for humanity. It means it gives the freedom for the people who lack in language, who don't study English, who are not well educated. For example, if you take William Wordsworth, how he always admired the simplicity, and he did not use the bombastic language in his poetry. Even we have Robert Frost. And the next is nature, materialism, nature as a mystical and sublime. So sublime, the word sublime in romanticism is very, very important. When we talk about sublime, sublime is something which brings your inner soul into the outer world. For example, when you feel something when it comes to nature, when you're going to a park, when you're sitting there and you are enjoying the beauty, that is what sublime is. When you feel something that is present there and it is going to give your soul a lot of energy and a lot of positive energy, and there's a lot of good vibes that you're getting from that sublime, and that is what sublime in romanticism. And obviously the people who are emotional, energetic, changing, improbable, visionary, chaotic, supernatural. So it gives a separate space for all the individual people who really want to enjoy what is there and to be in that place and to enjoy what it is there. Okay, next slide. Okay, pre-romanticism. So this is also very important to understand what is pre-romanticism. A cultural movement that began in 1740s, and it came before romanticism. Okay, so you have to understand the year 1740, and it has came before romanticism. So romanticism, before it was pre-romanticism. So the trends of pre-romanticism is a shift in public taste. Okay, there are a lot of change in public taste. When I say taste, it means the language, how the people started accepting the simplicity, the culture. And the next is moving away from grand ideas. So this is very, very important. Moving away from grand idea in the sense the people who are embracing the classic language. For example, like Alexander Pope, he has written the essay on criticism, essay on poetry, and how he have commented on the people who just go with the idea of simplicity. So moving away from grand ideas, the people who are living in the romantic era, they started moving away from the bombastic vocabulary, bombastic language, because they really want to enjoy the simple thoughts. That is next, simple thoughts and the simple language, sincere and natural expression of thoughts. So whatever the poet is trying to tell you, you have to enjoy sincerely with your natural expression of thoughts. It means the poet is not trying to make you something which is not something real. That is what we have seen in classical language, where always poet uses the vocabularies, the word, how they have chosen in poetry. It is mostly into I mean, they just want to follow some kind of rules in the poems, and that is how they will make the language in such a way where people won't understand. But when it comes to romantic thing, there are authors who made their thoughts in a very simple way so that everybody can understand. And the rise of the middle class, so obviously when it comes to World War II, there are people who lost their houses and they moved to the countryside. Like, they started living a very simple life, that is the village life. So that is what the rise of middle class, I mean the people who live in the middle class, and they started admiring obviously the simple language, the simple thoughts and everything. Yes, next slide. Okay, key figures of romanticism. What do you mean by key figures of romance? So now let's explore some of the key figures who shaped the romantic movement. So these are the pioneer authors, like the most important authors. That is, first is William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Lord Byron, John Keats, and these poets and thinkers left an indelible mark of literature and philosophy. Okay, so first is William Wordsworth. When you talk about William Wordsworth, you are going to lose your mind when it comes to William Wordsworth life. So this person is so much into nature, and he think nature as a god. In his works, directly it will tell you that William Wordsworth is someone who believe in nature as a god. He see nature as a god, and he admire nature and he enjoy nature. How even he has one sister called Dorothy, and whenever he's coming with his sister from outside, he will tell her sister, just look at the beauty, and that is how God has gifted us. And he will explain everything to her sister, that God is present in the nature and you have to appreciate the idea of nature. And the people will cheat you and betray you and leave you from your life, but nature is something which always in itself, and it will never hurt you or it will never break your heart. That is what the idea of William Wordsworth in the whole romantic era. And the next person is St. Coleridge, that is his best friend, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, a person who was addicted to, let's say, an opium, drugs kind of person, who contributed a lot of things with William Wordsworth. And next we have Lord Byron and John Keats. They are prominent literary romantic poets. And okay, next slide. Okay, next we have artistic movement. This is the another idea of romantic era. The impact of romanticism extends far beyond the realm of art. The most important point here is far beyond the realm of art, where the people not just enjoyed literature, but they have went far beyond the idea of art. They did not see art as an art, they see art as a pleasure giver. So they have enjoyed the art in a form of pleasure. They have enjoyed the art in all the possible ways. That is what they are trying to say. The impact of romanticism extended far beyond the realm of art. They started finding inner peace within. The next is romanticism was not just about art. It affected many aspects of culture, made people more aware of the environment, and even inspired political changes. It changed how society saw itself and its connection to nature. So yes, people have had this cultural shift, and how the environment has changed due to the politics, due to the World War I and II, and it has changed how society saw themselves, that they are really connected to God. Okay, next. Impact on society. Romanticism did not just affect art, it influenced culture, raised awareness about the environment, and inspired political revolutions. The period changed how society saw itself and its connection of nature. So the society has been changed in all the possible ways when it comes to politics, when it comes to getting the awareness related to history or even God. Okay. Legacy of romanticism. Even today, romanticism continues to influence our culture. Yes, that is very true. Even today, we see romanticism, how it has changed our culture, changed our ideas. Emotional expression resonate in modern art, literature and music, and how it has inspired in modern art, literature and music. However, it is also subject to criticism, with someone questioning its tendency to idealize the past. It means It questions the idea of existence. Okay, so we have 6 romantic poets, that is William Blake, William Wordsworth, St. Coleridge, and P.B. Shelley, John Keats, John Gordon, and Lord Byron. Next slide. So obviously we have to know who the person is and how he is important to the Romantic age. So he is an English poet, a painter, and a printmaker. And the overall idea of this person, that how his art has represented in the form of a Romantic era, and how this person has changed himself into a village person. Okay, the first notable work of this person is Song of Innocence and the Experience, and The Tiger and the Lamb. Song of Innocence, The Book of Tale, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. So these are the important works of this person. Next. Okay, William Wordsworth, as I've already mentioned, he is one of the prominent figure in a Romantic poet. As a Romantic poet, and along with St. Coleridge as his best friend, he has contributed a lot to English literature in a form of Romantic era. It means he has contributed his lyrical ballads to English literature, where he explained how he want to choose this language for the public and why he does not want to follow the classic rules. And lastly, we see that he became a poet laureate also. It's because of his lyrical ballads that he has published with his friend called Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay, next we have this same person, that is Samuel Taylor Coleridge, a poet, a founding Romantic. Remembered now mostly for his opium intake and friendship with William Wordsworth. Samuel Taylor Coleridge is responsible for some of the best known poems in the English language. So he mostly remembered by the name of William Wordsworth because he was a best friend, and obviously he is an opium intake person who was very much depressed in his personal life, and most of his relationship did not work because of whatever the reasons are. And that is how he went to drugs and things, but somehow somewhere he find the inner peace in the poetry itself by the help of William Wordsworth. Yes. And then we have P.B. Shelley. Okay, born in Sussex into a wealthy landowning family, son of an MP, eldest of 6 children. So this person is a wealthy person, and he also remembered by his name called Matt Shelley by his classmates. Mostly when it comes to the Romantic writers, people remember them as something that they are really mad, or something they are not okay with whatever they are thinking in the earlier stage of Romantic era, because that is a crucial time where people don't understand what is happening, because there is a lot of sudden shift from classic to Romantic era. That is how people did not cope up with the idea of Romanticism. But today we are the living proof that how we understand Romantic era in a form that really brings peace for the people who have suffered from World War and World War II. Okay, next when it comes to John Keats. John Keats was one of the principal of poets of the English Romantic movement. During his short life, his work received constant critical attacks from the periodical of the day through politics rather than aesthetic, often dictated those points. Okay, so this person really don't believe in the supremacy of God, but he is a person who always value the aesthetic essence in his poetry. And this person has written many odes and many songs for his friends, and he has his physical disability in his life, but still this person has proved a lot of things to the readers. Okay, in mid-19th century, however, audience began to appreciate more fully the significance of cultural changes in his work. Okay, this is the extra information that we are going to see here. So lastly, we focus on this last point. He often felt himself working on the shadow of past poets. So this person often felt working in the shadow of past poet. It means he has influenced by the past poet, that is John Milton, Spenser and Shakespeare. So again, the Romantic authors have got influenced by this authors called Milton, Spenser and Shakespeare. So these three are the people who belongs to classic era, and still now we can see the essence of classicism in Romanticism. Only towards the end of his life did produce most original and most memorable poems, including series of odes that remains among the most popular poems in English. So when it comes to John Keats, the only thing we have to remember is this person has some physical disability, though he has written many odes, that is, he dedicated many odes to English literature. Okay, next. Lastly we have John Gordon and Lord Byron. Okay, again these people comes under Romantic era. The most flamboyant and notorious and major romantic, George Gordon, Lord Byron, was also the most fashionable poet of his day. So these two people have their different specific image in romantic period, where they are different from all the other writers. How they are different is because of the language and because of the physical appearance, how they look among all. He created an immensely popular romantic hero, that is Byronic hero, different, melancholy, haunted by secret guilt for which too many he seemed the model. Okay, so his life has been into modeling and so on, and same, but however when it comes to writing a romantic text, he never failed to impress his audience by writing romantic text. He has always proved himself as he's one of the romantic poet. Okay, lastly we have conclusion. As we conclude, let's reflect on enduring significance of romanticism. Studying romanticism helps us understand human nature and lasting impact of creativity. It shows that even in tough times, people still crave beauty, passion and meaning. Okay, in the conclusion part, we'll like to conclude in this way, that people till Romantic era to till now, this is the postmodern era, till now people crave for beauty, simplicity, passion and to live a life with meaningful purpose. That is what the idea of romanticism is. But people don't want to go back to the olden norms or whatever the rules and regulation they were following in the olden era. Even now, as a professor, as a student, we don't want to follow the dress code. We don't want to follow something which has been a lot of rules and regulation that has put on our mind. We really want to live our life in a freeful and joyful way. That is what the romantic idea does to the students, as well as obviously as to the scholars or to the professors. This is the idea, to bring you with a free mind, to learn, to love things with the passion and the full purpose of meaning. And that is how I would like to conclude the Romantic era, that will just make you live a true life, not just life, it will make you to live your life. Thank you.